Okay, this video for the ThieAudio Oracle MK3. It is a triboard, a 2+2+2, 2 dynamic drivers, 2 balanced armatures, 2 ESTs. That is the Z-Review X Harmonic Dyne Edis 50mm dynamic driver headphone, the bass violence necessary for change. If you comment below this video and you're a subscriber, when I unbox that, that's the second comment section. You're subscribed to both channels, you're going to score that set of headphones right there. If you like low end, if this is what Z says it is, if that tagline, the bass violence necessary for change, turns out to be like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna buy a set for myself. But that's going to somebody that comments below this video, so good luck. If you got plenty of IEMs, maybe get a set of headphones, switch it up a little. Again, you will have gotten it for free, including shipping. Let's go ahead and talk about the set that we're here for. The Oracle by ThieAudio, the third version of the Oracle series. Let's talk about series. Let's talk about the Blessing 2, the Blessing 3. They are all incremental adjustments to prior versions. The Monarch 2, the Monarch 3, same. Nobody ever said, what is this? I can't believe that this is no relation to the Monarch. Yes, it was. It was slightly different in the treble, not really radically different. And then the adjustment was mostly in the tuck. And it was less and less from the first to the second to the third. They started to put a little more in the 2 to 250 range, if I recall correctly. And that made it much more friendly to bass guitars and kick drums. So somebody with a library like mine prefers the Monarch MK3. And somebody that has maybe K-pop, J-pop maybe likes the original. But nobody said, this is completely different, I have no idea what they're doing. That can't be said for the Oracle, unfortunately. Let me take the Prestige out of there for a second. I was doing my own looking here. Let me take the Oracle Mark II. And you can see that these sets look quite different. Now, this is the Oracle Mark II and the Mark III. Let me go ahead and take out the Mark III, and let me go ahead and put in the original Oracle. And you can see it's even more of a difference. We went from the green original Oracle, which is one of the more balanced versions of any of ThieAudio's, to a V, pretty much a U, a V really, because of how far that bass goes out. And the spikes in the treble, it doesn't seem anything like an Oracle. So when Monarch released a second and then a third, people who were looking for a slight adjustment went right to it because they thought, I know that set, but I wished it had. This has, I'm gonna buy that. This was, what is this? People had no idea. There's a lot more bass than that, and that is actually real energy at 8 kilohertz. That's not just a coupler. That is actual energy there, and it's grating. And then that late spike helps give a grainy kind of sensation because of the cavity that's preceding it, kind of like the Aria or the Audia. These sets that have that giant drop and then a late single peak that's out after and around 15 kilohertz to give you the grain. That's what the Oracle 2 did, and it made people say, what? And they never did that with the Monarch 2 and 3. Now, the next version of this, which is what I have right here, should be different from the original, but split the difference between these two radical things. And voila. Nice putting the same color up. Thank you. They did. It's got treble. I'm going to go ahead and drop. Before I do that, I'm going to add the Monarch Mark III just so you can look at it. That's got more bass than all of these sets. So if the Monarch Mark III is something that you're familiar with, hold up a second. Let me switch the color on that. That actually goes further out. Oh, I forgot that. The Oracle, the Monarch Mark III is quite a thumpy boy. This doesn't thump as hard as that. I'll take this out. It's got less bass than the Mark II, and it's got treble that's more similar to, let me take it out of there, the original. Now let's look at these two right here. You can see that the treble's not very different. It's a little bit more polite than the first one, but that was in my review that I'm going to start any second. Thank you for your patience. I thought that this reminded me a lot of the Oracle compared to like the Monarch, which has more energy and also more bass, and all of them in the sub bass. This actually sounds like an Oracle. And when I started this review, I didn't do it the way you think I should have done, which is compare the three with the first one. I actually compared the 3 with the 2 because that was the one that everybody said, what is this? So compare this to that and think, there we go. Now move the 2 out of the way like I just did with the Squig, or actually this is, what is this called? GitHub. That's my new graph thing. This is much more like that. Now, let's not look at graphs too long. Let's move away. Listening to music. You can see my score sheet up at the top, my ranking ghetto scale. Let's talk about bass. The Big Boy Killjill, the triple drop, lowest is at 38 hertz. It's a deck mix like 808 Roland. It's got energy. Again, this is a tuning that in the bass is very similar to the Camper 622B, the Elysian X, sets that aren't known to be bass boys. They do have good bass tuning because of the trajectory from the sub bass to the mids, that angle that it. My target is an exact replica of the Elysian X to 500 hertz. That's how I based it on it because I thought that was perfect. This is very similar to that. It treats bass guitars and drops the same way. That is to say, it's not a fat frequency Maestro series type set. It's not a Symphonium Titan type set. It's not a bass head set. It's not a bassy set. The Monarch Mark III would be borderline bassy. This isn't like that. But it does do Killjill decent. The 4-string and 5-string bass guitars, this is where this sounds really a lot better than the original. And a lot of the ThieAudios, because it's not too much bass, the pulls, the plucks, the ringing of the strings, which has got a lot to do with tuning beyond 500 hertz of this instrument, that we call a bass guitar, but 96%, literally 96% exists beyond the bass range. Because every hertz counts, and that's a very compressed scale beyond 1 kilohertz. Like 19,000 hertz is beyond where it says 1 kilohertz, going to the right side. That's how compressed that is. So the bass guitar is really a mids guitar, actually, when we talk about it. The way that this is tuned in the low end, coupled with, I'm going to go ahead and take out the original, because this is my target, again. This is good tuning for instruments that I listen to on the regular. And it sounds good, and that's why I have a target like this, and I don't think things should adhere to it, but when they do, there's a high possibility I'm going to be a fan of it. And so I am a fan of this set, because the 4-string bass guitar does sound good, and it sounds a little better than the original Oracle. It doesn't sound quite as potent as the Monarch Mark III, but it doesn't have the energy on the top end either, so I think that this is overall probably better. The bottom kick drum from the 4th album sounds authoritative. It's not really potent and powerful. It's about, again, I got like something like the Camper or the Elysian X. The Annihilator actually has a little more bass than this, and the Elysian X. So I think it does it well. As we get into the vocals, Chris Cornell, Lane Staley, Nina doing the cover of Heart of Glass by Blondie. This does all vocals well, again like an Elysian X, and again like a Camper. It's not too much mid bass that gets in the way. I will say we're comparing this now to the original Oracle. This is a little more musical, slightly more warm, but it's not blowing out female vocals like what happens when you put too much mid bass in. I think it sounds good. As we move into what is essentially exclusively harmonic and overtones, which are the same thing, really. The after effects of an initial fundamental sonic event, like my knuckle hits the table. You see that on a spectrogram. You see a giant spike event, and then you see it dissipating off, with about 80% of it being after the event occurred, like the knock on the table, the pull on the guitar string, the strike on the cymbal. Most of the energy by percentages, overtones and harmonics. The section that is that, which let's say is around 5 kilohertz and beyond, which is really, really exclusively harmonics. We're talking about cymbals is a great instrument for that. Keyboards and pianos, because it goes all the way across this scale that we look at a lot, which is the frequency response graph from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, piano. Guitar, acoustic and electric, with and without distortion pedals, all sound really good on this, as I would expect looking at the graph. I was so much looking at the graph as it related to the original Oracle and the 2 that I wasn't really looking at this one isolated till I'm doing this review right now. And it's actually my target. I didn't notice that clearly until today. I think somebody brought it up on Hi-Fi Guides, but that's literally coming to my brain again as I'm looking at this, because I've been looking at this. How does it relate to the original Oracle and the second version? So I've always been looking at 2 and 3 squiggles at the same time. I'm actually on GitHub now, but I'll keep calling it squigs because I'm so in. That's so branded into me. So it shines great on that part of the tuning, and I thought that when I listened to bass guitar, when I'm all the way on the left side, because the ringing of the strings sounded really good, and a lot of what is the bass guitar actually is occurring in the mids and in the upper mids. And I thought it sounded great. Now, let's put this on the scale. Dumpster fire? Absolutely not. Hope it was free. That would be a score, but for this video, it's the Eris Zeos Harmonic Dyne collab. Coping is working. No. Competes with its peers. $500 Tribrid 2+2+2. I would hope so. That's my target. The camper is a Tribrid. That's $3,700. I'd buy it. That's my target. I like it. I think they got back to their roots and what they were supposed to be, and that is a set that doesn't fatigue, but has a seemingly accurate replay to a majority of the instruments in a library like mine, with not too much low end. And again, it's an Elysian X. I keep bringing that set up. Let's go ahead and bring it up. Elysian Acoustic X. As you can see, it is identical to the Oracle Mark III. I think it's the best. Now let's look at the Annihilator. Now this is the 2021. Ooh, that's got more bass. That's why I was confused when people said the the X is for EDM and the Annihilator is for all other libraries. What? The Annihilator has more bass and more upper mids. It's more of a V. That would be the EDM set. That always tripped me out tremendously. But let's get the Elysian Annihilator out of there and just leave the Acoustic X, which again, as you can see, is what I base my target to 500 hertz on, pretty much. And this set follows that. So it's in good company when it comes to the low-end tuning, which impacts everything that follows. Because it's either getting in the way a little bit or it's getting in the way a lot. Or you wish there was a little bit more of it because it seems to be lacking and make everything that follows sound thin, light, fragile. This set doesn't do that. I would say that I would buy this set. $550 is, I think, the asking price. Yeah, I'd buy this. It looks stunning. I didn't even bring that up. It is absolutely gorgeous. It fits good. It's got a nice cable. This set, along with the Prestige LTD, are my two favorite ThieAs. Those are my two favorite. The LTD's a beast. This is really, really good as well. Does my library good. That's it. You guys have a nice couple days, and I'll see you in a couple days. Don't